Hey there, golf fans. James O'Malley here with a quick look at the world of golf for Monday, August 3rd. Another week and another golfer has tested positive for the coronavirus, this time the fate befalling South African Brendan Grace, who was forced to pull out of the Barracuda Championship in California Saturday despite being in second place at the time. The positive test unfortunately means Grace will also have to miss next week's PGA Championship in San Francisco due to a mandatory 10-day quarantine. Grace is the 8th player to test positive since the return to golf almost 2 months ago. A number of other high-profile players have pulled out of next week's PGA Championship as well, citing health concerns. 2018 Open champion Francesco Molinari, 2008 champion Patrick Harrington, 1991 champion John Daly, 2009 champion Wai Yang, and two-time winner Vijay Singh all said last week they won't be traveling to California. The tournament was originally scheduled for May before being postponed until August and will be played without spectators. The PGA Tour was in Memphis this week for the WGC-FedEx St Jude Invitational at TPC Southwind, where Brooks Koepka was the defending champion. He made news Thursday by shaking off some rusty form as of late to fire a 62 to lead after the first round, though it looked like the player to beat this week was actually going to be Brendan Todd, who's already won twice this season and held a one-shot lead heading into Sunday's final round. What we got was an old-fashioned shootout between two former world number ones and Koepka, who looked to be back to his best just in time to defend his PGA Championship next week, as we see him make a birdie here on 13 to take the outright lead. In 2017 PGA winner Justin Thomas, who has Phil Mickelson's longtime caddy Bones Mackay on the bag this week and next, as his regular looper deals with dizzy spells. Here he is pitching his approach shot to 5 feet on the 15th hole. The lead would go back and forth all afternoon until Koepka drove it into the water on 18 while needing birdie, meaning Thomas, playing one group ahead, only needed to get up and down on 18 to seal the victory. The win was Thomas's third of the season after winning in Korea at the end of last year, as well as at the Tournament of Champions in Maui in January. The 2017 winner goes into next week's PGA Championship as world number one with the hopes of capturing his second major to go along with his 13 career PGA Tour victories. 4 players finished in a tie for second, including Berger, Koepka, and Mickelson, as well as Englishman Tom Lewis, who led the Open Championship after the first round in 2011 as an amateur. The runner-up spot was his highest ever finish on the PGA Tour. Xander Schauffele snuck into 6th with a 4 under 66. Looking elsewhere on the leaderboard, 2015 PGA champion Jason Day and defending Open champion Shane Lowry were part of that group, with Schauffele tied for 6th at 9 under. The man who took home the trophy the last time a major was played in San Francisco, Webb Simpson, winner of the 2012 U.S. Open at Olympic Club, finished in 12th at 8 under par. Disappointing day for fan favorite Ricky Fowler, who started the round in second place, slumped to a 3 over 73 to fall all the way back to 15th. A man who made news earlier in the week by telling reporters he hoped to live to the age of 130, Bryson DeChambeau posted a 3 under 67 for 30th place. Jon Rahm's reign at world number one sure didn't last long, a grand total of 2 weeks. He could only manage a 52nd place finish despite shooting a 4 under 66 on Sunday. Here's a look at the updated official world golf ranking for week 31. Confirmation that Justin Thomas takes over the number 1 spot, a position he last held in 2018. Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy drop a spot each to 2 and 3, while everyone else stays as they were last week. Same story in spots 7 through 12, with no changes. DeChambeau, Reed, Scott, Cantlay, Schauffele, and Morikawa keep their places. Some of the big movers of the week were Daniel Berger, who finished runner-up on the course where he's won twice before this was a WGC event, when it was known as the St Jude Classic. He moves up from 28th to 20th. Tom Lewis also makes a big leap, up to 46th from 67th. A big jump for Phil, getting back into the top 50. Maybe being back out there with Bones gave him an extra spark this weekend. And former world number 1 Jordan Spieth drops 3 spots to 62nd, following a 30th place finish in Memphis. Due to the World Golf Championships limited field, the PGA Tour was also playing an alternative event this week, the Barracuda Championship in Truckee, California near Lake Tahoe, not too far from next week's PGA Championship. Collin Morikawa took home last year's trophy for his first career victory, but he wasn't in the field this week, having qualified for the WGC in Memphis. That meant there was extra opportunities for someone to have a career-changing week up in the mountains. Modified Stableford scoring was in use this week, meaning seeing a plus sign next to your score was a good thing for once. 2 points for birdies, none for pars, and -1 for bogeys. In the end, it was Richie Werenski coming out on top with a score of plus 39. Werenski held a share of the lead after 3 rounds last week on tour at the 3M Open in Minnesota, before eventually coming in third. He didn't have to wait long to get himself back in contention, and this time managed to seal the victory for his first career title, which secures his card through 2022 and gets him into this year's PGA Championship next week, as well as the U.S. Open in New York next month. After a 5.5-month hiatus, the LPGA Tour swung back into action this week in the first of two events being held in Toledo, Ohio. This week's tournament is a one-off event created to help facilitate the Tour's return to action, is being held at the Inverness Club, home of next year's Solheim Cup. In the end, Danielle Kang fired a 270 to defeat Frances Celine Boutier by a single shot for her fourth career LPGA Tour title. Boutier had a birdie putt to tie Kang on the 18th hole, but just missed it to hand the 2017 Women's PGA Championship winner a victory for the fourth straight year on tour. The ladies are in Toledo again next week for the Marathon Classic, where Si Young Kim will defend her title she won last year at the Highland Meadows Golf Club. Looking across the pond to the European Tour, which is in the midst of their UK swing this week, playing the Hero Open in Birmingham. With the WGC being a co-sanctioned event and next week being a major championship, most of the Tour's marquee players were away in America, which gave some of the lesser-known names a chance to rack up some points in the season-long race to Dubai. English-born and American-raised Sam Horsfield made a crucial birdie putt on the 17th hole to grab his first-ever European Tour victory by a single shot. His 68 was just good enough to beat Belgium's Thomas Detry by a single shot, whose 66 included a bogey on the 18th hole that would have gotten him into a playoff. Also of note this week, Spaniard Miguel Angel Jimenez broke the record for most European Tour events played by appearing in his 707th tournament. The 56-year-old fan favorite finished at 7 under par, which was good for 34th place. The Champions Tour was in Michigan this week for the Ally Challenge outside of Flint in their first tournament back since early March. Jerry Kelly won last year's edition of this event, but with a field that includes multiple former world number ones and major winners, it was anyone's tournament. In the end, one U.S. Open winner held off another as Jim Furyk took home the trophy in his very first start on the Champions Tour, outlasting two-time major winner Retief Goosen, as well as Brett Quigley. 50-year-old Furyk also won on the same course back in 2003 when it hosted the Buick Open on the PGA Tour, and is the first player to win his first champion start since the aforementioned Miguel Angel Jimenez did it back in 2014. Checking in on the Korn Ferry Tour, which is in Omaha, Nebraska, for the Pinnacle Bank Championship, Ryan Ruffles held the lead after 3 rounds and was looking to climb further up the top 25 following an 18th place finish in his last start 2 weeks ago. The story of the day instead turned out to be Seth Reeves, who shot a 64 to come from 8 back to win the tournament. Reeves, who lost his PGA Tour card last year following his rookie season, finished over 2 hours before the final group and had to wait around to see if the number he posted would stand. In the end, Ruffles could only scrape together a 73, which saw him drop into a tie for second with 4 other players at 10 under par, a shot back of Reeves. Canada's Taylor Pendrith, also part of that group in second, further cemented his place in the top 25, where he currently sits in third. That's a quick look at the world of golf for Monday, August 3rd. Join me again next week as we recap the PGA Championship at Harding Park and the first men's major of the year, plus lots more, here on Golf News Weekly.